You nobly refuse to adopt robot labor, even as your bottom line feels the sting. We just lost another wealth. God dang it!
Well, we knew that though.
Was that an additional wealth again?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
it
at
was.
2.
Piece of crap. Metabot seems to be doing fine financially, and you can begin to think about the things you could purchase with your money. That seems contradictory to what just happened.
Yes.
You've been concentrating so much on your robots, you haven't given much thought to what you could do with your money besides expand the business. What will you spend your funds on? You will have the opportunity to buy more than one thing if you can afford it.
Which we do not.
No.
We should definitely keep one wealth.
I'd like to buy a house, which is 2. So we should really just not do the 2 wealth options, right?
Right.
So our 1 wealth options are, I would like to spend some time with Ellie on a Mediterranean cruise. I would like to spend some time with Ian on a Mediterranean cruise to show him the world. That's kind of weird. I would like to give some of my money to charity, or I prefer to save my personal funds. I don't feel like we're really in a position to be spending extra money right now, honestly. I feel like we should be hanging on to it.
I think saving personal funds is a
We're
viable...
currently being described as getting by. That doesn't sound like cruise money.
Yeah, a defensible option. I don't think it would be terrible to spend time with Ellie because that's still kind of rocky even if it's rising. But I think saving personal funds is also a pretty clear option.
Yeah. I don't know, because if we spend 1 and then we take another hit, we're going to run into problems.
I mean, if we don't find another way to make money, yeah. But then again, like, I guess it's just banking on only having 1 wealth issue, as opposed to 2 wealth issues. Nora Yelnock says, does anyone notice how efficient Kyle and Ian are in comparison when Rachel was here? Have no fear, for I am here, says Elferlight. Not because they're too tired to argue, or because they work better together.
I don't know.
Quasha says, save the money. Quasha says, I think they just work better together. We can't have that. It's time to go wake up Rachel.
How much sleep has she gotten?
An hour and a half.
I'm gonna save the money.
Mm-hmm.
Life is uncertain, and you never know when you might need some extra funds. You decide to keep your remaining money. With Metabots doing reasonably well, you may attempt to undermine Josh's business. I really just don't care to interact with Josh as much as this game wants me to.
Yeah, well, okay, but on the one hand, like, it seems...
I care if Metabots is doing well, but Josh isn't hurting us. He's
just taken 2 wealth from us in 2 successive screens.
Okay.
Like, if we were just, like, totally separate, that's one thing, but he swooped in on our Galen contract.
Oh, hold on. He's still selling robot drones as his core business. And if you wanted to, you could sell comparable robots at a loss to drive him out of business. Now, do you think that was disappointed? I thought that was going to go in the way of us sabotaging him by releasing EMPs everywhere, which I'm kind of disappointed in. But what do you think? Should we try to run him out of business? It seems like a weird thing to like try to jump into his market to compete with him as a way to run him out of business. How likely is that?
So what it means is we'd be selling at a loss, we'd lose a wealth, but he wouldn't interact with us anymore. It would get him out of the equation. Right? That's what I'm getting at.
The way I'm thinking this is going is we're basically saying, do you want to make autonomous drones now?
Well,
because that's our selling, that's our thing, right? We've made AI. So, also, our options, which are relevant, are, let's do that, I should eliminate my competition, I will ask whether Josh is interested in a merger, or I don't care about Josh, he can do what he likes. Which is mostly my opinion, but I guess he is kind of taking our business a bit. Which is weird, because it sounds like we're kind of in 2 different areas.
We have 3 votes for sabotage, destroy, run out of business.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm not sure, I can't imagine Josh is interested in a merger.
I don't care for a merger anyway.
He is running us, he's out competing us all the time.
I think I'm more worried about my ability to actually eliminate the competition. Will that work? Or will that just make Josh mad at us?
It's just business, bro, just like he says. I imagine. I don't know, I've never talked to Josh.
Because if we leave him, What is that going to do?
I'm sure it's going to drain our wealth. I mean, all he's done so far is drain wealth from us. It would be weird if he did anything else.
This is offering a new business venture, which is expand into drones, which may not be a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean...
That's not bad. Chat says do it.
Yeah, they're... Kazoro doesn't take from anyone.
Good point. Down with Josh.
Harrison Beak says, take moral high ground, it will always pay off.
Too late. You sell robot drones at a loss for a little while. Your advanced technology blows Josh's business out of the water. You sell Josh's customers far superior robot drones until one day you read in a tech blog that Josh's business has filed for bankruptcy. Crap, we did it. You wait for Josh's customers to get used to buying from you, then slowly phase out those models for newer, more expensive ones and profit, +2 wealth.
Hey, we got back the wealth that he took.
You rehearse in your mind the things you will say to Josh once he finally gets up the nerve to call you. Business is business. That's how capitalism rewards progress and so forth. But he never does.
Like, I would think that's sad, except that...
And that ends our totally uneventful relationship with Josh.
Yeah.
Would you like to read a bit?
A few months later, you're catching up on tech blogs when you see a photograph of one of your robots. Only, it's not your robot.
Oh, no.
The story is about an upstart Chinese robotics company funded in part by the Chinese government itself.
China!
We believe this company will help us finally make Mao's dream a reality, says party official Zhang Guwei. Well, that's not good, if I understand Chinese history correctly. If robots do all the labor, it will allow China to modernize while at the same time breaking out of the bad cycles of exploitation that occur in the West. How in the world did the Chinese steal your technology? Your own computer security personnel claim there's no evidence of a break-in. I'm convinced you hire a consultant to look into the matter. The consultant finds malware lurking not only in your laptop, but in the brains of your robots, including Ian.
No.
The security consultant says there are telltale signs of malware being Chinese in origin.
Hold on, is this the same thing that was on our phone at the beginning of this game?
It does seem kind of likely. We did copy Ian's brain with the malware on it.
How did our techie representation in this game not think of this when we did?
Well, because he was totally fine with it. He was using it to help Ian learn.
I mean, what would the only option was turn your phone off, which isn't exactly a solution to the problem. Was there a way to avoid this?
I mean, I think if you chose the option that's all like, whoa, what the hell, man? You could have stopped it.
Maybe.
Earlier on. I think it comes at sort of a hit to your date, though. This is before we actually had a robot that works.
Yeah. Anyway.
The consultant says there are telltale signs of the malware being Chinese in origin. He can tell, for example, that the person who remotely logged into your machines used a Chinese keyboard layout, giving some particular Unicode characters lingering in your server's RAM. That sounds just reasonable enough to perhaps be true. But I had all kinds of antivirus running, you say? I took every reasonable precaution. The computer security consultant shakes his head. That stuff's such a scam. It detects the script kiddies but leaves you vulnerable to the real bad guys. You know what happened to McAfee, the guy who started this whole antivirus business? Ran for president. Fled to Belize eventually to hook up with young women and do drugs.
That actually happened.
It did. Is that a cautionary tale? Is that supposed to...
I don't know. What does that have anything to do with anything that's happening right now?
I mean, honestly, he sounds like his life went a little bit better than ours has so far.
I hire a different security consultant.
He proceeds to tell you some sordid tale behind the man whose software scans all your computers, but you aren't listening. You take advantage of your computer consultant to educate yourself and your robots on code exploits and the proper defenses against them, a blind spot in your computer science education. +1 autonomy. But for now, the damage is done. Soon you find your prices being undercut and your profits suffer. -2 wealth.
God dang it, China. Would that have not happened if we had decided to outsource to China?
I didn't pick that option, so I actually don't know. I picked move to Alaska, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A few weeks later, a politician visits you at the factory. One Jacqueline Irons, a representative from Alaska. You vaguely remember hearing that she was once a venture capitalist who rose to fame on the success of her Fox webcast Against the Man, in which she pilloried? What?
Pillory,
Pillory?
made fun of as if in a pillory.
Uh,
It is to create a mocking of.
when she's pilloried unsuspecting guests as examples of privileged elites. There have also been rumors of her running for president soon. You can imagine why I'm here, she tells you in your office. No, not really. Actually, I don't know why you're here. Like many politicians these days, she wears a neticle? A monocle with a small screen visible only to her, in which she can read messages from her advisors and speechwriters, some of whom are watching her interactions at all times.
Want it?
You think the neticle is probably recording even now. Politicians love to weave moments in which they look good into their streaming video commercials. Her hair is cropped short, but her fingernails are long and pink, and she wears a broad-shouldered suit. You seem to value human labor at a time when many businesses are moving to automation. My campaign similarly places emphasis on putting America back to work. We're looking to pass laws that will make it more difficult to automate labor here in the United States. Think of it as putting the worker first. What exactly do you want, you ask guardedly. A substantial campaign contribution would show your heart is in the right place. You're fairly certain she has the power to hurt your business if you anger her, but your options are somewhat limited to your current financial situation, which is that we have 2 wealth. Alright. So we got 5 options here, guys. We have make a donation that would be large for an individual but small for a company, which is -1 wealth. Sure, here's $100, which is definitely kind of a diss. I'm afraid I don't have a significant amount of wealth to spare. Sorry. If you want my support, pass laws that will keep China from stealing my technology. That's not bad. Working out a deal there. Or, if I support you, would you be willing to show up on Josh's doorstep too? Which I don't care about Josh, game.
It seems like being in a position to pass laws that would keep China from stealing my technology is predicated on her having won to the point where my support is not necessary. Or are we claiming that what China did was legal?
I don't know. I think she's probably... We're just saying, help me, help you, is the idea. We're just asking for something in return first.
We can try.
Alright. She responds... Representative Irons seems surprised. Excuse me? You describe in detail how the Chinese stole your robot designs. Okay, she's angry on our behalf. She seems genuinely angry by the end. They'll pay for this, she says, but the person who has the most power to set international policy is the president. Will you support me? Alright, so now we actually have to make the decision to,
I say go for it.
If we're going for it, I guess -1 wealth is the best idea. Huh? That's the best we can give.
Yep.
You agree to make a small donation to Representative Irons' campaign, -1 wealth. Thank you, she says. Every little bit counts, as we like to tell our minor donors. Representative Irons does run for president. Oh, right, because she's running for president. So that was probably a good investment, actually, if you... Running on a platform of preventing robots and foreign companies from stealing American jobs. It's a message that hits the American public at just the right time, since unemployment is soaring. Though economists tell the public that the unemployment is a natural and temporary result of new technology displacing old, skilled jobs, that turns out to be a much less effective election year message than raging against the privileged, the elites, and the technocracy, as Representative Irons puts it in her speeches. What are they doing with their money? Who are they giving it to? To robots, to foreigners, to each other, to anybody but the American people. Well, that's gratitude for you, but then she probably treats her enemies worse. Since you think she is ultimately on your side, you are cautiously optimistic when Representative Irons wins the presidency. So we now have President Irons.
Oh, yeah.
True to her word, President Irons begins a policy of heavy embargoes against Chinese goods. In retaliation, China cuts off all exports of rare earths and the batteries derived from them. Suddenly, the cost of all the little miniaturized electronics people have grown accustomed to, cell phones, laptops, wearable computing, becomes prohibitively expensive. Despite everything, Metabots has vanquished its foes and thrived. You have the feeling that something big will happen soon, that if you don't propose to Ellie now, you may not have another chance for a while. Weddings are elaborate things after all. Do you propose to Ellie? We have yes, no, I still don't think now's the right time, or no, I understand now that I don't really have time for a relationship after all. What do our 6 million viewers have to say about this?
Do we try to marry Ellie?
We're possibly on the brink of a war, ironically.
Is it ironic?
Well, considering we've been very anti-military the entire time, we may have just accidentally incited a chain of events that will lead to a war with China.
Oh,
without having built a military robot to help with this. But then China also does not have the military robot as they would have if they had stolen our military robot. So,
It also would have screwed you if you'd chosen cell phone batteries up to start.
yeah, that's a good point.
I know, because I did it.
I forgot. Our robot runs on French fries.
Jeffrey says now is not the time, probably, but I don't trust Jeffrey in romance, so I say we do it.
I think we have a decent relationship. How long have we been with her? Several years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's stuck around all this time.
Feels like it's kind of like a not, if not now, then like when?
Yeah. Humanity's gone up. We have a very good relationship. We somehow still have a higher relationship with Mark, which I don't get. I say yes. If we say no, we don't get married. And if we say yes, and she says no, then we also don't get married.
So, you know.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Basic game theory.
After a romantic evening at a high-end restaurant, you get down on one knee, titanium ring in hand. Ellie says yes. Well, see, it all works out. You find that planning a wedding is hard work. It takes about a year of preparation and requires making a slew of choices that you should be thankful we're skipping here.
Yes.
Thankfully, Ellie helps you remain patient during the process and contributes equally to the preparations. I just remembered that we chose a woman because the women overrode us, and now neither of them are here.
Yeah.
So now it's just two guys.
In a lesbian relationship.
Same-sex marriage is now legal in every state, but you decide to get married in California anyway, just so you can be guaranteed some good weather.
Is that how California works?
You're both confronted with the prospect of inviting relatives you never quite came out to, some of whom have very different opinions on the matter, but your grandparents are much more welcoming and far less surprised than you would have expected. The dower aunts and uncles who disapprove use it as an excuse not to come, and everyone else is happier for it. Eventually, you walk down the aisle with Ellie. As you look into Ellie's eyes and say, I do, you can see that your love is mutual, and you're tremendously excited to start a life together.
How did homophobia make everybody happier?
By keeping the homophobes away, interestingly.
My experience is that's not how it works, but maybe this is what we get for not having active social media accounts.
Maybe. We got an achievement. Spouse.
We spoused.
A few days after your marriage, in the middle of your honeymoon, you call it that even though you can't really afford to go anywhere, the marriage license office calls. I'm sorry, we seem to be having trouble processing your paperwork, the woman on the other end says. We can't find Ellie on file. Could you have her send us a birth certificate? Ellie duly calls her father since her mother passed away some years ago. When she gets on the phone, she looks stricken. I'm not an American, she says. I was born in mainland China, apparently. No, Ellie! No! Ellie goes on to explain that neither of her parents ever got American citizenship. They had intended to have Ellie in the States to provide her with the best opportunities, but they stayed a little too long in China with her extended family.
This is what family does!
And she was born in the Shanghai airport. After they successfully snuck her into the States, they never even told Ellie that she was not an American citizen. After all the better they thought to keep the secret. When she married, they thought they would become a citizen and everything would be alright. She would become a citizen. That day has apparently come, but even though Ellie finds it relatively easy, if mortifying, to get a green card, citizenship turns out to be complicated to get. You submit a giant application and wait. The feeling that something big will happen soon proves correct. President Irons makes demands that China reverse its embargoes on rare earths, or the United States will be forced to contemplate all policy options at its disposal, including military force if necessary. It is in this delicate situation that on April 10th, 2026, the Chinese Prime Minister is assassinated by an unemployed American during a parade in San Francisco. The Prime Minister is replaced by a younger party official who is eager to show that China is unafraid of the United States. China attacked several islands in the South China Sea that it has long disputed with its neighbors, and President Irons, unwilling to show weakness, responds with a drone attack on bases on the Chinese mainland. The robot war has begun.